Ronald Reagan understood and was a great he was a great client in that regard. Let me talk briefly about vice presidential vetting. It's another instance where I've been preparing all of my life to do this. I took Howard Baker's papers down to the Ford White House in '76 when he was considered for the vice presidential nomination. We answered 19 questions. The questionnaire I sent out for John McCain had 74. So that's how I meant, and a lot of the questions have a name to them. The Zoe Baird question, the Elliot Spitzer question. So it's as things have grown. How did John select me? Somewhat, it was like Howard Baker. I was asked really after Dick Wiley and I had done a fundraiser for John in October. And that was a hard raise in October. I think he had single-digit support. But after that, I was asked if I wanted to get involved in the legal policy side. I said, no, I really don't want to do that. And Rick Davis says, well, we're not going to let you go. You still have to raise money. But I said, well, look, if it looks like John is going to get the nomination, I'll help with the vice presidential vetting. I'll help. John wins the nomination. And I didn't hear anything for months. And I asked at a press conference in Miami, well, who's going to run your vice presidential vetting process? And he said, A.B. Culvahouse. I mean, I had not heard anything. But there we go. The Republicans do it differently than the Democrats. We always have. There are no rules. The Democrats usually pick a committee that goes around and says who ought to be on the list. Republicans always have the lawyer's role, my role, the vetter's role is to vet, and we are given a list. And my deal with John is there were 3 rules. He was the decider. There was no one between him and me. There was no committee of folks who are going to say this person's on the list and this person's off the list, because if he was the decider, I needed to know that these were his people that we were vetting, and that third, and very importantly, because there are at least 2 occasions, one in our party and one in the other party, where someone had been selected to be the vice presidential nominee who had not gone through the formal vetting process, he could not pick anyone that I hadn't vetted. He agreed to that. We had 26 people on the long list. It was a blind basis. They did not know they were on the list. I had a staff of about 30 lawyers. We wrote 40 to 50 page reports. Today with the blogs, you can find out more than you want to know or need to know, some of which is true. But it's, and some of which raises difficult issues. If someone is unmarried, there will be a blog somewhere that suggests that they're not a heterosexual. On the other hand, if someone has been unfaithful to their wife, there's, in a couple occasions, we found blogs that said that X, Y, and Z is unfaithful to his wife, and here are the 2 people he's been unfaithful with. So at least you have the questions to ask. How do you make the qualification assessments? Qualifications in this town mean someone with a great resume. We all know people with a long list of qualifications who've been a senator and a committee chairman forever, who, at least in our minds, may not be qualified to be president or vice president of the United States. That's very important and different responsibilities. As John directed me, it was people who had the capacity to be president, the capacity to make tough decisions, and someone who understood that they were vice president or president of the United States, not of a unit of a new world order. Because the Constitution describes the job. I think John was very serious about that. Ethical issues, I learned as White House counsel and doing some look-backs on some of our nominees that had gotten into trouble. We look for corner cutting, someone who, I mean, everyone, I believe in redemption, everyone's entitled to a mistake or two.